And so time now for everyone's favorite segment of the day.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
I'm coming!
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived
Thank you, Yuri.
to hear from the man himself, Ariel Helwani.
Shut up, Booze! Suck it, man!
In beautiful New York City.
I was wondering if we get another one in there.
And now, to answer your questions, get out of your seats and on your feet because here he is, Ariel Helwani.
Who the fuck is we?
That's right. Oh, this is so good. It's your best contribution to the program.
Thanks, man.
Maybe ever. You know,
Just
if I'm
remember that microphone in front of you and yeah.
Yeah, all that other stuff. Anyone watch the All-Star Game yesterday? The MLB All-Star Game, the Midsummer Night's Classic?
Passed on that one.
Man. GC definitely watched it. It was your birthday. You probably didn't.
No, did not watch it.
I'm a sucker for the All-Star Game. I always loved the All-Star Game as a kid. They are... what they are doing to the All-Star Game is a true travesty with these uniforms. I don't know if you guys saw these uniforms, but these uniforms are just absolutely hideous. Back in the day, I actually loved watching the uniforms where it was like the clean home and it was just the hodgepodge of the different teams. So I would see like the Expo player on there with the, with the Mets player, with the Cardinals player, with the Cubs player, with the Brewers player. And it would just be like a nice clean hodgepodge. And then you'd have the AL with their road or vice versa. And now it's these god awful. I don't know what is going on with baseball uniforms these days, but it was an eyesore. So much so. It bothered me so much that I turned it off out of protest.
Do they do like All-Star Game hats?
It's awful. Just quickly Google All-Star Game uniforms.
I just did.
So my favorite would be like they all wear the same jersey and then they all wear different hats, kind of like the Pro Bowl back in the day. They used to have the red or the blue jersey and then they would all wear their own helmets. Used to love that.
I like the individual jerseys. Wearing your own team
perfect.
jersey.
It was so nice because in baseball it's either all white or all gray for the most part, right? They're not like red.
But yeah, these are bad. Yeah, these are bad for real.
Do me a favor if you
the
can.
Hats are
can you just throw up a
atrocious.
picture if you can for a second, just so people know what I'm talking about? Like it actually might be the worst jerseys, the worst uniforms I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty heinous. It's really bad. But to your point, I really love the wear your individual team because like I would watch it and I'd discover somebody who I don't watch regularly because they're not in my market. And I'd be like, oh, I love that guy. He plays for the Mariners now.
Exactly.
It was great.
Exactly. Or if you're a fan of the one team, let's say you're a Mariners fan and they only have one guy. Because in baseball, you have to have at least one player from every team, unlike in basketball or whatever. So like that's your guy. And he comes in, he's representing your town. He's representing your city. He's that was always very exciting. There was one year in '94 where the Expos had, I think, 7 guys on the team. And so during the intros, it went like down the line. It was, and they were all wearing just our uniform among the Padres and the Pirates and the Cubs and the Cardinals and the Mets. And it was very cool. It made me very, very proud. And then I turned it on yesterday. And this is like the 3rd or 4th year in a row that they've done this. And I was like, what the? You know what I said? I said, you know what I said? I said,
what the fuck is that?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Frank. It's like
We just went from this is your best contribution to
it was like literally right. It was like
the most disappointing ever. I thought maybe you developed a speech impediment. I didn't want to.
That's the busiest.
Yeah. Do you have just for reference? We have a photo by any chance?
Yeah, it's the best I can do.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's the AL. It's awful. The socks are awful. The hats are awful. You can't even tell what team that guy plays for. I think that's Marcus Semien of the Rangers. That's just because I just know my ball. You know what I mean? But like, would you know this? You wouldn't know this. Anyway,
That it's Marcus Semien or that it's a Rangers. I can kind of tell by the hat. It looks like
where's
they
the
got their own
Rangers?
individual-
Does it even have the logos on there?
On the hat.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's on the hat.
Did you know that was Marcus Semien, second baseman, World Series champ?
No. I still don't know that. That's
Former
Marcus
Blue Jay,
Semien.
former Mariner. Joel D up first. Hey, Ariel and the Parlay Pals. The Dustin interview was one of the best in-person interviews I've ever listened to on your show. I rarely fanboy out, but him and Poitin are on another level right now. The Plino interview was awesome too. Dustin dropped a list of fighters that he said he 100% would fight one of them in his next fight. Nate, Volk, Gaethje, Oliveira, Colby being a few of them. What do you see as the most likely / realistic to happen this year? There are some rumors of him versus Volk in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi. What? There are no rumors. What rumors? The guy still has to get a surgery on his nose. His knee is still. We're not. I would be absolutely shocked if we see Dustin Poirier in 2024. We're not seeing him in 2024. Like I said, maybe not back end of next year, but spring, summer. That's more realistic, and so much can change between now and then. There are 2 fights that I want to see for Dustin Poirier before his career is done. The number 1 is Nate Diaz. The number 2 is the Conor one, the 4th one against Conor. The other ones would be great. Another fight against Gaethje would be nice. The Volk one's all right. I prefer Volk at 145, if I'm being honest. Dustin's not the biggest 55er, but he's certainly not the smallest. Volk would be smaller. Colby, Dustin has always said that he doesn't want to fight at 170, so I don't know how that's a thing. Oliveira would be fun, but I don't see it happening this year. I really don't. Gil, hi Ariel. The in-studio guests often comment on how the trip into the studio was not what they were expecting and that it was much nicer than they anticipated. Any chance you could get one of the staff to film the trip from the street to the studio so we can see what the guests see when they visit? Thanks for the great weekly content. I suppose. I mean, I think it's just because it's a big building in the financial district of New York City and it's very professional and we're not the only company here. It's, there's like 30 floors in this building. And so they come in and there's a security desk and there's a nice kitchen and there's a huge office space here and all this. And then this is a professional. And I think maybe on the stream, they think it's just, me in my basement. And then they come in like, wow, you're a real show. I think that's what they're referring to when they say this. I do love it. Our control room is beautiful and it's very professional. It's infinitely better than what we ever had at ESPN. And I'm not knocking them. It just, something has to be better than the other. And this is like, I've been on a lot of shows, a lot of web shows, a lot of digital shows, whatever. And it's a great setup. So I think they're referring to that. Some people have been here and have filmed things. I don't think we've ever done like an official thing. And so maybe we will. But I do appreciate it. And it always,
I feel like if we did like a whole street to studio thing, it might let people down a little bit.
Oh,
because I'm with you. It's like, the office is nice and everything, but it is just like an office. And I feel like that's what the guests aren't expecting.
right.
Is like this nice New York City, Manhattan office. I mean, the control room and the studio are definitely impressive, but
Yeah. I think I think they're just, they're thinking it's just a rinky-dink operation. They come here and it's like, oh, wow, this is real.
exactly.
Dominic, hello, Ariel and crew. My question is, with the rise in popularity and rankings of fighters from the Caucasus region and Central Asia, example, Tarukian, Armenia, Merab, Ilya, Dolitse, Georgia, Shevchenko, Kyrgyzstan, Shavkat, Kazakhstan. And by the way, shout out to the great Action Bronson. His new album is tremendous. And the MMA/pro wrestling references in particular are a delight. Like the one time where he drops Shavkat Rakhmonov just because it rhymes and the way he says it, tremendous. I know you loved the GC as well. You listened to it from beginning to end.
I mean, I listened to it from beginning to end probably like 4 times. I mean, it's 30 minutes. You can go on a car ride and listen to the entire thing. Yeah, the Francis Ngannou shout out when he talks about Mel Gibson giving him COVID at Poirier McGregor 3, dropping Shavkat Rakhmonov out of nowhere. I was like, wow, this is deep level stuff. I love it.
Yeah, really, really good. If you haven't listened to it, Hideo Nomo is great. The Sega song is great. It's all very great. Anyway, do you think we could see the UFC potentially bringing a UFC fight night or even a pay-per-view event to any of these countries? Pay-per-view might be tough. It would be in the middle of the night and not ideal, and you don't get as much media and you don't get the same buys and all this stuff. Fight night maybe. I mean, they've gone to some places pre-pandemic, not as much these days, but maybe. It's just they get paid so much to go to these events here in America, and you can charge so much. Like, look at this event that they just had in Denver and the gate that they had for, an okay card. Financially, it just makes so much sense to stay around here. But maybe. White Whale, Holy Grail. Hi, guys. Is the watch party going to watch the Iron Turtle's long-awaited return to the UFC and the continuation of his amazing winning streak? Last fight was a robbery. Plus, is Ariel going to talk to Jun Young Park so I can be happy. Thank you. I mean, we can't commit to that before the fight. Are you going to do a watch party for this?
Yeah, I think we can commit. I think we can commit just because he's gonna win.
Okay.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Not gonna be able to do a watch party for it, but I mean, I'm gonna be locked in. Don't worry. That is the main event on Saturday. Don't let the poster fool you.
Hell yeah. Alec. Hello, Ariel. Was wondering if you could talk about Dana's comments of only 10 Sphere fights. Do we know why that would be? I feel like a light pay-per-view is at least 12. And with 5 of those fights already being out, I feel like the Sphere card could turn out to be a letdown. Just wanted to hear your thoughts. I don't mind a 10-fight card, to be honest. Again, you have to remember it's a very expensive card. And I think that goes into it. And who knows? Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they don't want people sitting there for 7 hours. Maybe it's too much. Who knows? Let's just see how it all plans out. They haven't officially announced a single fight. I know there are some that are out there and some are okay. Nothing that really jumps out. So let's see. The one thing that I think people are confused about is it going to be called Noche UFC or is it going to be called 306? Yeah? I think it's both, right? But they're not calling it 306? Who knows? Or maybe they're going to just call it Noche UFC, Riyadh season. I think it's also the first time that there's an official sponsor for a card like this. Like Riyadh season presents Noche UFC. What a crazy thing. September 14th, Riyadh season will be sponsoring that card, and then they'll have in Las Vegas, and then they'll have the Wembley card 7 days later with AJ and Dubois. Wild. Hakeem the Dream. Hello, Ariel and team. This question goes out to the mysterious one. The uptick in fighter sound clips has been fantastic. Yes, you. The Francis one is especially hilarious to me. I got to think that there are ongoing bets in the back on whether Frank can break you while you're lighting up the microphone and how many times. I'm curious to Frank's process here. How does Frank find and select these clips? Any help from the gang? Has a fighter ever reached out and asked you, what the F is that? Additionally, the variety keeps the sound bites fresh. But does Frank ever get concerned about overdoing it? Y'all make my days better. Thanks for everything you do. And shout out to the team pulling the strings. Keep on rocking in the free world. Sam from Clemson.
Shout out to Sam.
Yeah, Sam's a goat.
He's I've spoken with him before. I actually spoke to his class at Clemson.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Hakeem the Dream, man. He's the man.
Frank, you want to answer those?
Who the fuck is we?
Yeah, I select all these on my own.
Yeah.
Edit them. Got them ready to go.
Yeah.
Has never gotten a suggestion for one.
Not
This is
one.
all Frank
In fact,
off the rip.
I would like if you guys would take time out of your busy days to just throw me a bone and be like, hey, how about this one? How about that one? All right, I'm joking. Most of these are things that these guys have come up with.
This is good.
We workshop them.
Mm-hmm.
Some don't make the cut. Some do. Like Bosch got botched, right?
I never botched it.
God, I love the Bosch one.
Yeah,
The Bosch one was great.
Iron!
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. What's funny is that it'll just continue to grow because it only goes a few days before like Helwani or somebody just says something that's iconic instantly, and I'm here for it.
I do feel we're light on I want a Frank one. We said we'd have the GC. It's tough, but we never got it. I do feel like we need to add some of these in there. Frank's gonna say, "Go find it yourself."
Who the fuck is we?
That's what he said about the It's Tough one. He demands that I go find it.
I just asked for some help. I mean,
I also feel like
demand.
on Monday, didn't he also say that we've kind of reached our quota?
No, so we've reached our quota of ones that are in the immediate, I can press this right this second dashboard. He has to kind of search for other ones a little more.
Okay. Well, we're happy to help you, Frank, if you need any help.
thanks. I'm still waiting on the it's tough. And then once I know that you guys have the integrity, I'll start asking for more.
I love how this person gave him all the credit, and now it's been revealed that he literally does nothing, and we have to do all the legwork, and he just presses the button. That's good though.
Jazz Divisius.
We have to admit that the genesis of this was this one
Jazz Divisius.
was on my own.
You're
Sure,
right. You did start that off. I'll give you credit.
Is
for
the
that.
first one Jazz Divisius and then the second one who me?
Yeah, from what I can remember.
Also
Who, me?
weird. I think Jasmine's was a year ago, right?
Has it been that long?
Well, I was going to say, like, what about the first 2 years? Why didn't we do this at the beginning?
I didn't
feel like
even
we've had
have the
Tom Aspinall
technology
one
to
forever.
do that.
Oh, we had Aspinall. That's right. We did have
I
Aspinall.
feel like we've
Aspinall,
had that since March of 2022.
yeah, Aspinall might be the original.
That's the OG.
Mr. Clean asks, "Hey Ariel, love the show. Been watching from the beginning. You're the best. Keep up the work." The other day I saw a post. I think it was Dan Ige calling out Ryan Garcia in the Sphere. Yes, definitely not happening. And I commented saying, "I don't know if he's heard, but he's suspended." To which some people said, "No, that's just boxing." And when I read the article about Garcia being suspended, it did say specifically that he's suspended from boxing, but MMA and boxing is the same athletic. No, Nevada would never allow him to compete because if New York suspended him, if any commission in North America suspended someone, doesn't matter what sport, the other commissions would honor it. There are some rumors that he is going to show up at the Ryzen event in July, the one that Manny Pacquiao is on, but I'm not sure in what capacity. Now, if Ryzen wanted to use him, they don't have to honor or adhere to any commission in North America, so that could be a thing if he actually did fight, and that would be insane. Again, it doesn't have to be MMA with Ryzen. But no, in North America, like he will not fight for a year. That is 100%. And that is retroactive to April. So we're 3 months in. You know, he fought in the 1 year between Tank and Devin, he fought once. So, you know, he's averaging like 2 fights max a year. So it's not a huge thing for him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if he were to fight, let's say he went to Ryzen in an actual fighting capacity, even though they don't have to abide by the suspension if they don't want, would the commission not be within their right at that point to say that he is trying to skirt the suspension and then further punish him?
They would
beyond that once
they may not be happy, but ultimately, it's people have gone to the Middle East and stuff while on suspension and done things.
And there was no punishment on the back end.
I mean, I can't think of every case, but I can think of a couple where people have. I mean, for example, this one's a little bit different, but look at the Conor Benn situation. He can't fight in the UK, but you know, America doesn't have to listen to the UK and vice versa, and they're cool with him fighting here, but the UK isn't.
I'm not. Let me be clear. I'm not talking about the international promotion or whoever allowing him to.
Yeah, you're saying New York would be upset.
Yes, then New York saying, "Well, now we're going to lengthen your suspension or add."
I don't think they could do that because they're suspending him for something he did in New York, and then it's just like not a gentleman's agreement, but it's just kind of understood that the other commissions are going to honor this. They can't. Yeah. They can't expect that same type of, you know, commitment from Japan, for example. And then they. I don't think that they're in their right to then further his suspension because he did something like that.
I don't know. It seems like a flagrant disregard of the suspension. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. No, I understand. But I don't think so. Jordan, hey, Ariel, fellow Canadian here. Just want to say it's amazing how much Canadian pride you show, although you do talk in Fahrenheit and say Z instead of Z. I mean, it has been, what are we in? It's been 23 years. But it's a given considering where you live. As a proud Canadian myself, and with the Olympics around the corner, my question is if you could remember where you were during Canada's greatest Olympic moment, Sidney Crosby's golden goal. Such an amazing moment for Canada that I think everyone remembers where they were. Cheers. P.S. It was a heartbreaker for Edmonton to lose to Florida and its 4 fans. Indeed. Yes, I do love Canadian sports, in particular Team Canada soccer and basketball. I have almost more affinity for them for some reason than the hockey. Maybe just because I like soccer and basketball more and because they're more underdogs and we're seeing them blossom in front of our eyes. So I'm very excited about the Olympics. I leave next Tuesday. Very, very excited about that. Regarding Sidney Crosby's golden goal, I remember exactly where I was because I was working for AOL at the time. And Casey and I, who of course still works for MMA Fighting, were sent to Vancouver to cover the Olympics for AOL, which was an incredible experience and a learning experience as well. Because when we got there, we realized that unless you are a rights holder, and there are only, a select few, right? The only rights holder in America is NBC, Canada, CBC, etc. You can't get any access. So we had to be very, very crafty and creative which actually I think made for our coverage to be even more interesting than it would have been if we were just like in the mix zone getting interviews. Until we did fun pieces on the Jappa Dog sensation in Vancouver, the pin trading. We were able to set up interviews with athletes outside of the village. For example, there was one with a Canadian women's curler who was 7 months pregnant, and she taught me how to curl. We interviewed Matisiyahu, whose song was the official song of the games that year. A snowboarder outside after she won gold medal, Tora Bright, I believe her name was, from Australia. In any event, for that gold medal game, Canada versus US, we went to a viewing party in this big kind of like barn tent, and we filmed the entire time, but we were just filming the reactions. And then, of course, when Sidney Crosby won, everyone went crazy, and I had a little jar of maple syrup, and everyone was drinking out of it. The video's up on my YouTube channel. And a lot of our stuff from the Olympics is still up there. So yeah, that was a great time, a great experience. And that's the only time I've ever covered the Olympics. And hopefully in a few days, it will be experience number 2. This one completely different. I actually just found out, if you're in Canada and we'll be watching the opening ceremonies, a lot of the stuff that I'll be doing will be for digital, YouTube, whatever, but I will be on the opening ceremonies broadcast, like on actual CBC on the TV.
Who, me?
Yeah. That's kind of crazy. You know, Frank? Like, what the hell am I doing there?
I, for one, am excited for you.
Will you watch it? Will you fire up the
Absolutely.
VPN?
What time will it be broadcasting in good old New York?
Well, I think Paris is 6 hours ahead. So
That's not bad.
So I think if it's like at 8, I don't know exactly. Stay tuned.
And then how does one watch the CBC from the great US of A?
Well, I think if you get a VPN.
Oh, a VPN, all right.
You know?
Shout out to our sponsor. No, I'm just wishing
but I do.
one.
I personally like NordVPN. They're not,
That's what I use as well.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a great service. So anyway, yes, I do remember it. It was incredible. And I don't know if it's the greatest. It's certainly up there. Donovan Bailey is up there as well. I would say maybe top 5. So let's see. Let's see what, of course, we're all very excited about Summer McIntosh. You know Summer McIntosh? She might be Canada's most decorated Olympian, Frank. 17-year-old swimmer.
Fucks with that.
Already, I believe, 7 medals to her name at 17.
It's more than I have.
Hello, Ariel from Jake. Just wondering if you ever plan to remove any of the fighter memorabilia that you have up in your set up to make way for future editions. I mean, we keep adding. We don't take away. I like a crowded room. I'm a bit of a hoarder.
That's the busiest.
Oh, is she here? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, man.
Oh, how long has she been there?
Couple minutes.
Okay, sorry.
Suck it, man.
I didn't see. I was locked in.
I saw that.
Anyway, I like to hoard things. I like to, have all kinds of things at my desk. And I don't know. So I like to add, not subtract, if you get what I'm saying. Couple more questions, then we'll get to the picks, and then we'll call it a day. How about that? Here's Mason. Hello, MMA Hour crew. Requesting some fatherly advice. There's this girl that I've been spending time with and might be developing some feelings for. I feel it's mutual from some of our conversations, but I'm not sure and don't want to make the situation awkward by making any moves. So question for the crew. How should I go about advancing things? Should I send a long-winded text or a message?
What the fuck is that?
That might be the response. Should I throw caution to the wind and go for a cheeky kiss? Would love to hear your input. Thank you all for your work you put in. Mason from Maryland. What do you say, Frank? I mean, what kind of advice could we give young
I'm gonna
Mason?
defer to New York Rick on this one.
Oh, okay.
Right to me.
Just feel like you're the love guru of the group.
Am I? All right. I'll take it.
See how humble he is?
I'll take that. Definitely not the cheeky kiss.
Yeah, that.
If you're at the stage where you can't even read the signs yet, yeah, that's maybe a little too forward. Don't overthink it. You're overthinking it. If the chemistry's there, the chemistry's there.
Do not send a long-winded text. If you're going to approach her about it,
He's already dead.
Here's my advice. Act normal and don't treat women like they are mythical creatures that you can't interact with. They're human beings. Like, be a normal person and you'll be fine.
Now, maybe not a lengthy text, but a text, a medium size or a small, or is this the type of thing that should be done in person?
In my opinion, it should be done in person. In my opinion, doing it over text is showing a fear of wanting to do it in person.
But also, what are we even talking about? Is he saying, like, do you want to be my girlfriend?
Yeah,
He said, like, broach the subject of feelings about her. Like, I feel like, what are you going to do? Everything's just normal, and I guess you're flirtatious when you're around each other, and then, like, you guys go home or something, and then you just get a random text professing your love to her.
Yeah,
Well,
this is
the
I feel
real
like you just
angle
naturally let it come up in person.
is to see if the feelings are reciprocated, right? Like,
Oh,
but he's saying, how do I find out that?
no,
Yeah.
you ghost her.
oh, stop.
And then after a few
I
days,
feel
when
like
she
you- I
reaches
feel like
out,
you
"Well,
just
what
know,
happened?"
right?
Then you know.
I feel like you just know.
Well, also
It's
the other
either there or you don't.
the other
It's-
thing is,
I mean, right? Like, how old is he? Is he 17? Then
on.
it can get foggy. But if he's in his 20s, like if he's in his 30s, especially, I
saying.
feel like you just know.
the other thing is, if they're quote unquote spending time together, as he's saying, like that's kind of a sign in its own right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one's
especially
spending
if we're spending one-on-one time.
Yeah,
yeah, but you could be like friend zoned easily with that.
That's
Like,
true.
we've been spending a lot of time because you're my friend, and then she's like,
Who the fuck is we?
yeah. So good. I like that you are now setting yourself
He's
up.
setting himself up.
It's so
Yes.
good.
I'm doing it when I'm not even here.
By the way, luckily for us, we actually have a real life woman on the team. So what would you prefer in this situation, Andy? What do you tell? You should be the one to answer this, not us. We're the
my
dolts.
It's been fascinating watching you
Yes.
guys talk about this.
Yes. She's like, excuse me, I'm the one that he's talking about, technically. You know
no,
what I mean?
I'm actually with GC here. I feel like talking about this in person is like, especially if they've been hanging out one-on-one, like, why do you gotta be so weird about it? Just talk about it in person. We're people, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't make it a huge deal. A long text is kind of strange, especially if they've been hanging out.
Yeah.
Just talk about it in person. It's okay. What's the worst that could happen? She says no and you move on, right? That's it.
Exactly. Okay.
I can already tell from the fact that this question was asked that we're heading to bad territory here.
He's
And
already dead.
What do you mean?
It's not going to be good.
Oh, with him?
Just like if you are overthinking this to the degree that you're soliciting advice to like figure out if somebody is compatible with you, we're in bad territory here. So get over it and figure it out and hang out and have a conversation like a human.
That Veronica Vaughn is one fine piece of.
Ass?
Yeah. No, I say that because this next person's name is
All
Veronica
right.
Vaughn.
I was like, why are we doing this?
The
right
next
now?
person's name is Veronica Vaughn. I'm assuming that's not their real name, but I do appreciate the nod to which movie?
What if that's Billy Madison?
Yeah.
But what if that
Happy
was
Gilmore.
their name?
no,
You're
no,
like,
Happy
that
Gilmore.
Veronica Vaughn.
I never reference Happy Gilmore. It's always Billy Madison.
Is that Big Daddy?
Ah,
Wedding
great,
Singer.
great.
51st Dates?
All like top fivers for me. Happy Gilmore
Top
actually.
fiver of all movies or Sandler movies?
I mean, for me, it's one and the same, really.
I was
Above
gonna
or
say,
below
Is your
Back to
top
the Future
five all
3?
Sandler movies?
It's Happy Gilmore is not a favorite of mine for Sandler. Like 50 First Dates, 100%. Big Daddy, 100%. Billy Madison, of course.
Wedding
is,
Singer?
Wedding Singer's up
How
there.
though? How is it not?
I just
I
didn't
love,
like.
I love
Too
Happy
lowbrow
Gilmore.
for
I liked it. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, I'm choosing
From
it
the
over.
opening credits,
What-
it's amazing.
Let me
What
see
is
your
it-
Adam Sandler card. I'm ripping it up.
Yeah.
What is it missing that the
It's not
others
missing, but
have?
you have to have a ranking, and Billy Madison is up there.
You blew it.
I'm sorry, we can't have Big Daddy above Happy Gilmore.
that's-
Big
It's
Daddy
just
was
not
great.
possible.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
Big
no
Daddy.
shot.
It's
a
just not-
different.
it's
We got
just
to
not
see a different
possible.
side of him, a more compassionate side,
No,
a
the
grown-up
different side
side.
of him is like Punch Drunk Love, like the real
Punch Drunk Love's a
actory-
great one. By the way,
Yeah.
haven't seen Punch Drunk Love in a That one
Bulletproof.
doesn't get played a lot. I don't see that
great,
one.
Great movie. I mean,
I feel like
Bulletproof.
51st Dates is seeing another side of him as well.
Yeah, I think that one's too. on the
I like
nose.
that movie. But the Dirty Little Secret is Adam Sandler is actually like a tremendous actor.
Little Nicky.
Like, it's
hands
not
down.
just.
Is that dirty? Is that like a secret? I don't.
I mean, most people think of him as like,
Bro,
comedy
Doesn't he have like
actor.
4 Razzie Awards too?
yeah, and like Jack and Jill and
wait, isn't a
garbage
Razzie
like
a
that.
bad thing?
Yeah, that's
Razzie is, like,
GC's
worst
point
actor.
is that he's
Nah.
not considered like.
He's
A
done a
top tier
lot,
actor.
so he's got a couple of little Nickies in there and all those. But I mean, come on, this dude, Punch Drunk Love's a great one, a very
Great movie.
underrated one. You know what's an underrated one? For me?
Uncut Gems, like he's
Uncut
got some
Gems.
real like serious acting.
Click. Have you seen Click?
Click
Get out of here.
Click will make you
I've ever
cry.
seen-
Bro, I cried at the end of Click. I cried like a baby. like a baby.
How bad it
When
was? I'm
When
sorry
he
to
No,
falls down
stop.
in the puddle and
Yes.
like, his kids are leaving.
Yes.
All right, don't ruin it. I haven't seen it.
Yo,
I
you
might
haven't
watch
seen
it.
Click?
I might watch it.
Clicks.
Is this the one with the remote?
Yes.
The remote,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I wrote
Click's
that one
solid.
off based on the poster.
Frank, should me and you watch it together?
I don't think I'm gonna watch.
No.
that.
Frank will never watch any.
What's
of your
another movie you cried
recommendations, but
at,
he'll shove
Helwani?
recommendations.
Oh,
around
I
your
cry.
throat.
I cry at everything.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
like, this isn't like a badge. Like,
No, I just enjoyed it.
No, but
I'm
GC
sorry.
just vouched for it too.
It is
Alright.
incredibly sad at the end. It's like shockingly sad.
So
Actually,
should I
Frank,
be
this is
eager
our-
to go
this is
poke
if you
myself in the
know,
eye?
you know its moment.
Hustle.
Yeah.
Hustle was great.
bulletproof.
I don't know about great, but it was good.
Can I tell you something? It's actually crazy that we're talking about this right now. When we went on a little trip, July 4th weekend, and my daughter wasn't feeling well. And if you have a young kid and you're staying in a hotel, there's not really much to do. You have to close the lights. Like, you can't watch TV. It's too bright. Blah blah blah. So I thought my wife also shares the same affinity for Adam Sandler, and I thought she had not seen Hustle. So I like put it on the phone on Netflix, and then she's like, "Oh, I saw this," and she's like, "What's the one? We haven't seen that other one, the other basketball one." I was like, "Oh yes, I've not seen Uncut Gems. Can you believe that?" And then I started playing it, and then like all this other crap, and then all the fights were happening. It was that night with all the fights, the Masvidal and Diaz and all that. Never really got into it, unfortunately. The food came.
man.
I've not seen Uncut
I
Gems.
can't believe that.
Isn't
With
that crazy?
With the
It's good,
convergence
man.
of
I went
Sandler and
and saw it.
basketball.
Oh, it's like
Yeah.
right up my alley. I need to see it.
And betting, and it's high. adrenaline the
Francesa,
whole
isn't
time.
Is that the one
Francesa
where he
in
gets
it?
blown up?
Yeah, very
Is he?
briefly, Francesa
Yeah.
is.
KG, isn't
Yeah.
KG in it?
Oh yeah,
He's
KG
prominent
plays-
in it.
he's essentially like the co-star of it. Yeah, it's great. So, all right, I pulled up a top 5 list of actually it's every Sandler movie ranked. There's like 50 of them. Top 5 on Vulture. This was the first article that came up. Number 5, Big Daddy. Number 4, Billy Madison.
Mm.
Number 3, Punch Drunk Love.
Mm.
Number 2, The Wedding Singer.
Nice.
If you tell me Happy Gilmore is number 1, that's insanity. Is it?
No,
Oh,
Click.
serious?
Wow.
Wow.
I swear. All it says
I-
under it is the best Adam Sandler movie to come out.
I gotta wonder about these rankings.
By the way, crazy. Happy Gilmore is not in the top 5.
Now you're insulted that it's not in the top.
No.
5.
I feel validated.
Waterboy is 6. I actually love
Who
Waterboy.
wrote this article?
Waterboy over Happy Gilmore? Oh, come on.
Is this
man.
article
This
written
is-
by AH? Like, look
This
in
is
the notes.
unbelievable here.
The Week of by 7 is at 7. Funny People at 8.
All
I
right,
mean,
no,
some of these
we're
I never
throwing
is
this
it?
in the
Wait,
garbage.
Happy Gilmore at 9.
Jeez,
Nah,
that's
The last thing I have to
51st
say,
Dates is 10.
I recently found a subreddit where people were just collecting pictures of people who look like Adam Sandler, and
That's a great summary.
it's hilarious because a lot of them are very convincing. Like, are you sure that wasn't him?
Wait,
You don't mess
So
with
you
the
s-
Zohan number 13.
what's the week
Well,
of?
like,
By the way,
there's the
Don't Mess with Zohan is actually a fun
Oh, that's
one.
my favorite.
But wait,
hands
what
down.
is the week of?
The
What is
Week,
the week of? I don't
of
know.
came out in 2018. Sandler masters Dad Adam in one of his most ambitious pictures ever. Another great Sandler movie, Grown Ups. I mean, you got to throw out there.
Are
Next
these like
summer
the straight to
classic.
Netflix ones?
Some of these are
Yeah,
right?
it,
like
it actually looks like The Week of was a straight to Netflix with Chris Rock.
Great.
Mm. Yeah, there was a
let's see,
stretch.
The weakest of is what they mean.
5.2 on IMDb, 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. Two fathers with opposing personalities come together to celebrate the wedding of their children. They're forced to spend the longest week of their lives together, and the big day can't come
But
soon
I'm supposed to
enough.
believe all these are better than Happy Gilmore. Get out of here.
Coming to Netflix, April 27, 2018, The Week of, starring Adam Sandler and Chris Rock.
Wow.
Pass.
By the way, could we just talk quickly about Big Bang going in on AJ there?
He had some heat for AJ.
That was
Yeah, it's great.
I loved it. I was like, oh shit.
Mark
just-
my words.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
will never fight me.
Wow. That was fun.
He knows what happened after the Olympics.
yeah.
Look at who he's fighting. Francis Ngannou, Hellenius. He doesn't want it. I mean, he was.
I loved it.
I didn't expect that. I did not expect that.
What a lovely guy. And shout out to you for Soup to Nuts, the booking. This is great. I mean, it was so enjoyable. I'd like to do it more. Can we do
Pass.
more of that?
Nope.
It's possible. I just
First
showed,
time
I'm
ever.
like, wait a second. Like, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to text anyone. I don't have to check in. I don't have to send them the address. I
It will
guess
never happen again.
this is what every other host.
Thank you, Frank. Those are my feelings.
Good day to you and the guys from Frankie. Non-MMA question here. With the Olympics looming, I'd love to know which events you and the crew are most excited to watch this year. There are certain sports that get me pumped up when I flick on the TV and they're on, with table tennis, archery, diving being in my top 3. What are y'all's? I could get into really anything when it comes to the Olympics. I enjoy the more obscure, the better. And this is exciting because it feels like the first time since 2016 that it's like a real, like the one in Tokyo, the summer one at least, which ended up being in 2021 and was supposed to be in 2020, was quite depressing. Because at that point, if you recall, like the world was starting to open up a little bit. Like the NBA finals had just wrapped and fans were allowed, but then we get to the Olympics and there are no fans allowed. And so it just felt very dark and depressing. And so this feels like it will hopefully be a celebration of sports and athletes and dreams and life. So I'm very excited about that. I'm a fan of the skateboarding. I enjoyed that. The surfing is cool. I'm trying to think of the obscure ones because obviously,
the gunslinging.
Yeah, everyone loves the track and field, 100 meters, 200 meters. The relay is very fun. Swimming,
Shot put.
yeah. Swimming is always fun. Basketball is obviously probably the highest on my list given the NBA involvement.
I'm pretty excited for the boxing this year.
The boxing, the boxing is going to be
I'm gonna
good.
tune in.
The wrestling is always great, of course. The taekwondo, judo's fantastic. Did you guys know that my uncle was in the 1976 Olympics in judo? Did you guys know this?
You mentioned
I
it recently,
feel like
so
I
I was
did,
aware.
yeah.
On the anniversary, I believe. Didn't you?
1976 Montreal Summer Olympic Games. He represented Lebanon in judo. In fact, the final Jewish athlete to ever be on Team Lebanon. That is his distinction. But unfortunately, it didn't go very well for him. He got injured in his first match and had to withdraw. But the Olympics are great. Can't wait to experience it all. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a very good time. Anyway, you know what? I never read Veronica Vaughn's question. We went down that whole Billy Madison path. I never actually. I always hear you mention the joy of being a dad. It's truly second to none. So with baby number 2 on the way, I look forward to the naming process. It is something I didn't truly experience the first time around, as my firstborn son is the 6th. Wow. Curious to hear how you guys landed on your kids' names and if it was a long, drawn-out process or if it was seamless with not much overthinking put into it. It's a fun but tantalizing process, as I tend to not want to settle on a name, prolonging the enjoyment and continuing the search for the perfect name. Well, I can speak for myself. We didn't know the sex of our kids until they were born. So there was kind of like this, if it's a boy, if it's a girl scenario. We always had the girl name, Claire, which we both liked, and also my wife's grandmother. We didn't have a girl the first time. We didn't have a girl the second time. And I would have bet my life we never actually spoke once about the possibility of having a girl. We were so convinced that the third one would be a boy that we never actually even spoke about girl. And then once she surprised us, we had the name ready to go. The first one wasn't that hard. Oliver, we liked. No real special meaning behind it. And then the second one was a little tricky. And we went through a whole bunch of names and somehow landed on the great Walter. But they weren't too tough. For us. What about you?
They're great names, but this is so boring.
Yeah, there's not a great story.
No, but there's no debate. There's no conversation. There's
wasn't
I
that-
like this name better. This is
What
so
the
boring.
fuck is that?
what
No,
is
why?
this?
You had a big debate?
No, because I won, so I don't.
Wow.
Like, I just
It
kind
was a
of.
directive.
I kind of roll. I kind of steamrolled.
You
her and
picked
got
all
what
3
I
names?
wanted. I picked 2. I got 2, and then for one of them, I got my second choice. So I mean, I'll take it.
Did you know the sex
That's pretty
before?
fair. Oh yeah, we knew every time.
Okay. So there's no big surprise.
Yeah, I named my first daughter and I named my son, and that was it. Like,
Did you
can have
did you
this
guys do a gender reveal?
no, not one of no,
I'm not a big gender reveal guy.
not my style.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the you can get into the trenches there with the baby names. Like I had to scratch and claw. What I'm lucky about is that my wife is extremely indecisive, whereas I am very assertive and decisive.
This.
And I exploited this
Yeah.
by saying, this is the name. This will always be the name. And no matter what you say, this will be the name. And then come time, she hasn't made a decision yet. So then she kind of has to be like, all right, I'm out of time. That name's pretty good. Let's use the name. And so I
you
win.
said it with conviction. She's
Always.
indecisive. Some say
Always.
she is still trying to figure out what the name should be, but since you said it with conviction, she's adopted it. Yeah.
If it was up to her, they would not have names still.
Yeah, maybe like an empty catalog number, like number 1, number 2. I get it.
Yeah.
My kid, well, I don't know if you guys know this. I was named after my grandfather.
Okay.
So my nickname actually growing up was Pappy, which none of you have ever called me that, or Papa or whatever.
Well,
So-
now we will.
By the way, wait, like Poppy, like P-A-P-I?
Yeah, like, Pappy.
Jeez, Louise, 3 years in, we've been sitting on
Yeah.
Poppy. We didn't know about this.
Granddaddy, that one works too.
Wait,
I
what's the
answer
other
by
one?
all of them.
What?
So there's Pappy,
Yeah.
there's Poppy, there's Granddaddy, Papa. Like I go by all of them.
This
named after
for
my
you-
grandfather.
Your friends call you that?
Growing up, yeah, that's how I was always
Your
like,
friends called
"Hey,
you
Papa," and I'm like,
Granddaddy?
"Oh, what's up?"
Wait, I can't believe
Granddaddy.
3
So
years
to
into knowing each other.
continue
Wait,
passing that
and by the way,
baton.
Pat, is it
You guys haven't even
Pappy?
heard the story.
Is it Pappy or is it Poppy?
P-A-P-I,
Both.
but with the
Both.
But
the
can I call
accent
you
mark
like
over
Big
the
Poppy?
I.
Like you're Big
I mean,
Poppy, mysterious Poppy.
No one is Big Poppy except for Big Poppy. I am Pappy.
This
No,
is
you're
by the way,
Granddaddy.
this is a massive.
Granddaddy works too.
I just want to let you know this is a massive turning point in our lives because we will
Well,
go
I finally
back to
decided
this
to
day.
let you in.
Yeah, this is great.
I'm also offended that
Poppy.
you guys were like, "Oh, Frankie this, Franklin that." I'm like, "Why not Pappy?" Like that's what I grew
You've
up
never
with.
said that, by the way.
Never asked us.
Yeah.
Well, because I can't
Listen,
hear it over the
Granddaddy.
laughter of like how chuckled you are. But ooh, Frankie, look how he's turning red. You know, like he doesn't
Wow.
like it.
Okay.
All right,
wow.
so-
Jeez,
What a day. What a day.
it's incredible.
So my kid is named after my great grandfather's nickname.
Which
so my
is?
great grandfather's name was Hugo. Keegan is like a nickname for Hugo, and then his middle name comes from my dad's name.
I didn't
Which
know that.
is?
Yeah.
Keegan was
What's his
a-
middle
I
name?
don't mysterious, obviously.
Wow,
What's
I can't
his
believe you
middle
just revealed
name?
all that info, but you stopped short at the middle name.
Yeah, what do you want? His social security number? I mean, come on.
He doesn't
His
want to
blood
say the
type?
middle name because he named it after a Comedy Central sketch show.
Okay, now I have so many questions. Was your
Egan.
Pokemon?
Wait, Pokemon?
Did you name your son after an anime character?
No.
Oh,
Why
okay.
are you
No,
asking
Comedy
this?
Central sketch
He just
show.
said it's after the great grandfather.
No, the middle name.
Was your grandfather called Granddaddy before he was a grandfather? Where did all his
Well,
nicknames
you know,
come
that-
from?
No, are you talking about Hugo? That was my great grandfather.
No, your grandfather.
Oh no, he was just always Poppy and Granddaddy and.
but
Why
but
Why
when
did your
he became a
friends call you
grandfather,
that?
No, I think he was also named after his grandfather.
he was also named after his grandfather.
I-
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, now it's making more sense. I get
Why
it.
does it always skip a generation? Why is no one named
Yeah,
after
why
their
is
It's just a
father?
weird thing that the mysterious family does.
Granddaddy, I'm in. All right, Granddaddy.
I love this. I can't believe that we have been sitting on Poppy and Granddaddy and all
it
this
pays
stuff.
to listen every now and then.
You
never
never
said
said
that.
any of
No,
this.
you've never
Yeah,
said this. Why
says
would
the people
anyone
who
call
don't
you
listen.
Poppy
Yeah.
before you were a father?
Yes.
I love it. We move along. Taco
I asked
enthusiast.
why, and you said yes.
Hi, Ariel. I can't imagine how enraged Nate Diaz is after putting his body on the line July 6th and not getting paid what was expected. Excuse me. You and the boys have touched on fighter pay a lot. In general, I think it's pretty cut and dry that UFC fighters are underpaid across the board. However, I also think there is some truth to the talking points that Dana White reiterates all the damn time about boxing. Every boxing event is going out of business or is a going out of business sale. They never reinvest money in the sport. When something like this week's Nate Diaz news comes out revealing a fighter can't even get paid what they believe they were contractually obligated to receive, do you think it gives additional credence to both Dana's talking points and the UFC's handling of fighter pay? While we should certainly wait for this lawsuit to play out in court, I'm flabbergasted that Fanmio would even pull or allow this situation to escalate to this point, particularly after what was a seemingly successful event in Anaheim. Much love to you guys. So there's a lot there. And I would just say, I don't feel like it is fair to put Fanmio in the boxing bucket. Fanmio isn't a boxing promoter. If you want to take shots at boxing or poke holes in boxing, like look at the top ranks, look at the Matchrooms, look at the Queensberries of the world, look at them. They are boxing promoters and they are ones who put on events almost every week around the world, Golden Boy, et cetera, et cetera. Fanmio is putting a one-off. The last boxing event that Fanmio put on was a 2019 fight between Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. And so there were reservations off the jump. The first red flag for me was them going head to head with the UFC 302, the Dustin Poirier Islam fight. Like that was a huge red flag. And it's extremely unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate what has transpired here. And I think this is going to get ugly, and I think it's going to drag out. And I think that there's, as they texted me in the middle of the show on Monday, two sides to the story, and you hate to see it because like I was getting into arguments with people before the fight, with the likes of Ant Evans regarding this fight, and he was calling it a grift and all this stuff. And, my stance is I'm happy to see a Diaz and a Masvidal get paid because I don't think that they got paid what they were worth throughout their career. And I actually spoke to him about this earlier today, and his stance is it's like, yeah, cool, but that's a UFC issue. That's not a fan issue. Just because they didn't get paid doesn't mean the fans should pay $50, $60 to watch them at this stage of their career as box. And there's something to be said for that. I understand that. My view is basically like the world is correcting itself. The universe is correcting itself and it's back pay. Now, yeah, I'd love for that money to come from the promoters that they fought for and not from the fans. The fans always showed up. They bought the tickets. They bought the pay-per-views. They supported. They bought the shirts and all that. So yes, the fans don't necessarily owe them anything other than, okay, you want to support, you want to show a debt of gratitude, you want to buy whatever they're a part of. But yes, it's not on the fans to pay them back. It's not on the fans to make up for whatever money they didn't get earlier in their career when they were truly in their primes. But I just kind of view it as, the world correcting itself. And then so you see a situation like this and it's heartbreaking. And I don't know if he's going to get his money. And I reached out to Jorge's team and I did not fully hear back on their pay situation, but I don't think it looks great. But let's see if over time everything is corrected. And I think there's a lesson to be learned here, especially from Nate's perspective. When Nate beat Tony Ferguson and all that played out the way in which it did, there was a feeling, and I said it on this show, that the MMA gods were smiling down upon Nate, one of the good guys, one of our own, one of the beloved soldiers of the game, and he wasn't getting screwed by fighting this guy that he shouldn't have been matched up against, and the only reason he was matched up against him was because he was on the way out. If he wasn't on the way out, they would have never made that fight, and he ended up getting a more suitable fight, and he won that fight, and so he had all the momentum and all the leverage coming out of the UFC. And so then he takes the Jake Paul fight, and there was risk involved there, right, on a couple fronts. Jake had been boxing longer. Nate is beloved. Nate is tough. Nate is, a figure that people just adore. And a loss to Jake Paul would obviously hurt his brand and stock to a degree. And that's why the UFC brass afterwards said, like, yeah, we're not interested anymore. We told you not to take this fight, and it wasn't a great showing, and we're not interested. But the good news is he had this opportunity. And as you heard on Monday, there was a lot of money being offered to him. And so I don't begrudge him for taking it. But there's a part of me that now thinks back and says, all right, you guys didn't take the PFL offer to fight Jake Paul for around the same type of money, at least to get in the door. We'll see what the upside was as far as like pay-per-view buys and whatnot. But like to get in the door, they were talking 10 to 15. You heard Don Davis on this show talk about it. That's a win. That's Nate Diaz and Jake Paul. Nate Diaz should smoke Jake Paul in an MMA fight. And now, I would like to think the PFL money is, safe. No one's accused PFL of not paying. I know there's the Mousasi thing, the Lima thing, but as we've come to learn, there was more to those situations. The Aubin Merciers of the world, the Dakota DeChavas of the world, the Brendan Lochnanes of the world, the Anthony Pettises of the world, the Cedric Doumbé. No one's accused PFL of not paying them like this situation. And so in retrospect, if he did go down the Jake Paul path, should he have just fought Jake Paul in MMA and taken that $10 to $15 million? Because that, I think, would have been easy money. And even after the fact, after this Masvidal fight, he calls out Jake Paul. So what I would love to know is, why didn't you just take that fight? Why did you choose Fanmio over PFL? One's a lot more established and reliable as opposed to another. And so I really hope that this doesn't happen to anyone ever again. And I really hope he gets paid every single cent that he is owed. But I unfortunately think that there's a lesson here. And the other lesson to this question is say what you will about the UFC, and we say a lot and people say a lot and whatnot, but no one will ever accuse them of not paying and what they are saying that they're going to pay. And no one will ever accuse them of being unprofessional in terms of like when they're owed money and things like that. There's obviously things that you can complain like, oh, when a fight falls through, they don't pay this, that. But like, you fought on that night and they tell you, you're like, that money's in your bank account Monday, Tuesday. And there's something to be said for that. And there's also something to be said for being anti-establishment when you're in the establishment and being anti-establishment when you are the establishment. And so I think despite all the troubles, despite all the headaches, despite all the roadblocks, maybe a lesson in all of this has been like, hey, maybe being anti-establishment within the establishment ain't too bad. Being the establishment brings upon a lot of headaches and a lot of issues. And, you're working with people who are, lacking experience, unprofessional, whatever it is. And so it's very unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate. I wish this didn't happen, and I hope that it gets rectified and that he gets every cent and that we can, everyone involved can learn from this. But back to Taco, this is not a shot at boxing. No one accuses Frank Warren of not paying or Eddie Hearn of not paying or, I don't know, Bob Arum of not paying. I know there's stuff with Golden Boy and stuff, and not every boxing promoter is 100% kosher, but like the big dogs don't get accused of that. Dana White likes to talk a lot about boxing being broken, but it's doing just fine. It's doing just fine. And we're talking about a sport compared to an organization. How's the MMA business doing right now? How is PFL doing? How is ONE doing? The UFC is on fire. The UFC is killing it. But we can't compare an organization to a sport, and we can't do it vice versa as well. He's comparing the UFC as an organization to an entire sport and lumping everyone together. Well, let's compare, how's Matchroom doing compared to ONE? How's, Top Rank doing compared to PFL? You know what I mean? It's like they're all apples and oranges, and you see a lot of these big-time boxers making a lot of money. We'll see how long that lasts. We'll see what happens with Saudi Arabia and Turkey, but the bottom line is you can't blame boxing for what Fanmio has done. Allegedly, I should say. Matchy Wee-Wees, Ariel Helwani, 2 quick questions, 1 football soccer question for you. We all know you are a diehard Canadian. However, should in the future Canada ever play Israel, who would you support? That is a tough one. Can I decide if they ever play each other, which I don't think they will anytime soon? But yes, love Soccer Canada. Love what Jesse Marsh has been doing. He's all over Canada over the past week. He was in Toronto. He's in Hamilton. He's in Montreal. We are so lucky to have him leading the charge. Everything he says, the way he refers to Canada as we, as us, it all goes a long way. It all really does. And so the difference in the excitement in Canada compared to the U.S. and Mexico going into 2026, and then compared to where we all were 2 months ago when Canada didn't have a coach, and those other 2 entities were rolling. It's wild. So yeah, can't wait for 2026. When you eventually get round to doing High Road to Helwani, it's actually Highway to Helwani. Will you be reading the audiobook? Being dyslexic, I prefer audio. Sure, we need to get there, but for sure. A couple more. Mike Saladino. Good evening, Ariel. How many Oreos do you eat in one sitting? I can't recall the last time I had actual Oreos. I do love a good cookies and cream, but sit down eating Oreos, it has been a long time. I do want to give a shout out to our good friend Bill Steinmetz, the legend, the mensch of all mensches. He sent me on my birthday Oreos and cupcakes and ice cream. I opted for some. My wife opted for some. My daughter opted for some others. But these were the birthday Oreos. And I think there's actually, did I see Mountain Dew Oreo? No, Gummy Bear Oreos recently or something like that?
There's Swedish Fish Oreo.
Oh, this is crazy. Are you a big Oreo guy?
No.
Anyone else have Oreo recently?
Yeah, not recently, but I love Oreos. I mean, I'm a big Oreo guy.
Yeah.
I can put them back. There's no limit on it.
By the
Give me a glass of milk,
by the
Dunk.
package.
Yeah, by the sleeve for sure. I mean, if I'm getting a package and it has the 3 rows, I'm taking out at least a row if I'm going to open them up.
Whole damn row, huh? In one sitting?
Oh, for sure. Especially if we're getting like special flavors. Like their tiramisu flavor is unbelievable.
Swedish fish.
I haven't had the Swedish fish one. I've had a lot though. There's a lot of good ones out there.
That just seems bizarre to me. Swedish fish Oreo seems really weird. Adriano, Paul versus Perry face-off. Thoughts from you and the team. Anyone watch it?
I did not watch it.
I saw one clip.
I've only seen the clips on social, yeah.
One clip of Mike and Jake. Like,
The pro wrestler, pro wrestler thing. I saw that, but I did not watch the full thing.
Where are we at as far as excitement, interest? Here we are. What is it? 17.
Pretty excited for it.
3 days.
I'm pretty excited for it, yeah.
Yeah?
It's one of those for me that like the interest isn't building for me. I'm not like, I don't care about the lead up. Like I'm not, it's not one of those where it's like, oh, let's see how this plays out. Like it's going to get me interested or not interested. I'm like, they're going to do the media, the open workout, the press conference, all this stuff. I'm like, okay, like I'm in, I'll watch it. I'm 12 out of 10 for the fight. I just want the fight to be here. I don't care about the pageantry of it. I just want to see the fight. 12 out of 10.
GC?
I don't know about a 12 out of 10. I'm at like an 8 out of 10. I'm excited and I'll be watching for sure.
Can the festivities this week get you more excited?
Probably not. No.
Yeah,
no,
see,
it's
not going to get me anymore, but I'm here already.
I'm excited. I'm probably not even going to watch any of the festivities. I'm probably
Wow. I mean, I'm hosting the presser tomorrow. I'm like flying in early.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to set up a VPN. And
what VPN?
everything
Fucking YouTube, bro.
No, you tried to sell him a bill of goods.
Gotta get the CBC
out. What do you want me to do? Freaking set up a satellite for you?
It wouldn't hurt. It would help the chances.
What the fuck is that?
I'm doing the presser. I have to say, I have to say, like,
Let it down.
Maybe I shouldn't say it. Maybe I shouldn't.
No.
Well, you gotta say it now. I know you gotta say.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say it. It's stupid. We're too late. I'm gonna, I talk a lot about the pressers. I'm gonna try to bring some change. Okay.
Oh.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, I don't want to stand up there and be like, on and on and on and on. No one wants to hear from me at these things. It's not about me.
I will say, to the credit of perhaps this is a Nikisa Jake thing. I don't know. Their pressers tend to be less boxing and closer to an MMA, which is
where he's
better.
from. Yeah. No. Yeah. We actually ask the media for questions.
Yeah.
Why is it called the press conference if media doesn't ask questions? There's no questions from the press.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
But also, we don't have 7 different levels of addresses about thanks for coming here to the venue. Here's the guy from the governing body.
No, I'd walk off. I'd walk
4
off.
hours of nonsense before we hear from them, and then they're on for 4 minutes and then face off. All right, so you don't want to reveal what the change is, but you're
no, I'm not promising.
This is a great tease. Now I'll be tuned in.
Okay, all right, there it is. Perfect.
You got him.
You
got GC to tune in.
Yeah, that was his intent.
You hooked me. Hook, line, and sinker.
There's also a chance that I've not had any conversations with anyone. I'm just telling you how I'm feeling going into this.
Oh, like that's even better. Going in like a Trojan horse.
I'm already locked in.
So now you're advertising that it could be a disaster, and now more people are going to watch. This is amazing.
Any good restaurants in Tampa? Anything to look forward to over there? I mean, I was there once, but it was like the height of Omicron last time.
I think there's a Sweet Tomatoes.
Did you say Buca de Beppo?
What is that?
Yeah, a little
Italian restaurant.
Buca de Beppo.
Is it really good?
No, it's like a chain. It's
shout out.
What is it like?
Little BDB, Buca de Beps.
Cracker Barrel.
It up when you're in Tampa.
Cracker Barrel. Shout out.
It's a chain like
Golden
that.
Corral.
It's not like a Cracker Barrel. It's like a Buca de Beppos.
What kind of food?
Italian.
Well, according to Andy over here, no, it's not Italian.
It's like an Olive Garden.
Couple pieces.
Yeah, but more.
It's a Buca de Beppos.
It's better than that, but it's still a chain.
Sweet tomatoes, super
Remember,
salad.
it's double P on the back end. Buca de Beppos.
All right.
Don't forget
I've been
that.
there.
Connor, question from Tip. Have you played NCAA 25 yet?
No, I haven't. So I don't have any gaming console with me other than the Switch, and it didn't come out on the Switch. But I mean, all the clips I'm seeing, it looks amazing. I'm very excited to get it once I got consoles again.
He claims that they have a Powhatan celebration. Press RS after scoring a touchdown. You get the bow and arrow, although may be tough getting a TD if playing as Georgia. Roll Tide. Tip.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back national champs, no big deal.
And by the way, as much as we love Poetan, not the only guy to do the bow and arrow
yeah, no,
celebration.
I'm gonna guess that's not actually Poetan. But yeah, the game looks amazing. I'm so hyped that it's back. I haven't made one since NCAA football 14. It looks sick. So yeah, I'm excited to play it.
Brandon Johnson, by the way, was the first to do the Nottingham, Robin
First
Hood.
one ever.
Yeah.
First one ever.
Oh, wow. We haven't heard that one in a while. Come on, you Reds. Henry, by the way, shout out to Frank for even knowing Brennan was for us. Well done. Good afternoon, gents, and a very happy birthday to the one and only Connor Big Money Burks. Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
I like that you're being called Big Money Burks and not Alec Burks, who's the other Big Money Burks, because he left and went to Miami. A question for the whole crew. Going into my second year of college in about a month, so I was wondering if the crew had any specific must-haves for living the dorm life. Hope 31 treats you wonderfully, and just so you know, I would also get stoked if I got a tea kettle for my birthday, so don't feel old. Go Heels.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tea kettle's sick. Used it twice this morning.
Any big tips for
Oreos.
Henry?
Mini fridge. Get a mini fridge. That's my biggest tip. If he's going to be in a dorm, get the mini fridge. Yeah, throw the hot pot on top of the mini fridge. Yeah, do it up. Water filter. Get a nice Brita filter.
Mm-hmm.
Oil,
don't get a
heater.
Don't get the reusable water bottle. Get it. Mini fridge. That's my best. And an eye mask. Get an eye mask, especially if you're going to be sharing the place with someone, so you don't have to worry about the blackout curtains if they get up before you.
And a nice turntable.
Turntable like.
Yeah, to play music on,
If my random roommate walked in with a turntable, I would.
Next to your Underwood typewriter for doing your homework.
Oh, yeah.
Sensing a theme here, Frank.
Yeah, I'm imagining.
He loves
a
out-of-date
hipster.
technology.
Did all three of you go to the dorms in college?
Yep.
I was a dorm liver year one, and then off
campus somewhere.
I was South Campus, which was like quasi dorm, but both years had the freaking communal bathroom experience, which was awful.
Oh, I got lucky. I only had to share mine with one person.
Oh, you had your own bathroom in freshman year.
Yeah, the dorms. It was like a new dorm, and me and one kid had to share a bathroom. It was nice.
I made what some might say is a critical mistake. I asked. So my freshman year was technically my sophomore year because, long story short, in Quebec, you graduate 11th grade, then you go 2 years to something called CEGEP, which is sort of like a junior college, and then 3 years university. And so they took the second of those 2 years and used that as my freshman credits. So technically my first year there, I was a year older than the freshman, if that makes sense. But I was on a floor with a bunch of freshmen. So they get there and they're all acting a fool and they're all like drinking and doing stupid shit. Before that,
but did you, before you finish that, did you only go to Syracuse for the 3 years then?
Yeah.
Did you come in? Okay, got it.
Yeah, and initially they didn't want to honor those credits, but I was a year older than everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I requested a single room dorm, meaning just like single occupancy, so I was by myself. There was two of those on every floor, and they were touching each other, but the rest were, and in retrospect, I felt like that made me a bit of an outcast. Now, I did a great job of making myself an outcast as well. But it did, like off the jump, you don't have that immediate buddy, right?
Who, me?
Yeah. But, sometimes the buddy could be a disaster. I just wanted my space to do my own thing and pretty much watch my sports, my wrestling and all that stuff by myself in peace. But I do think in retrospect that kind of created some sort of like, I don't know. Divide. And one thing I'll never forget, there's a song that I'll never forget until the day I die. My next door neighbor was from Jamaica. He was also in a single room, and he would play the same song over and over. I could sing it to you right now. I can't remember what I listened to this morning, but I could sing you that song because he would play it until 4 a.m. over.
Never a different song.
It was the same fucking song. I feel so rich, 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 rich. I don't even know what the song is, but it would play over and over, and it was strong bass. And there were times where I contemplated what's the thing that I could do to end this. To
Buy him
myself.
another record.
It was awful. It was absolutely awful. One thing I also remember.
Was it a Jamaican song?
I don't know if it was a Jamaican song, but he was definitely from Jamaica and very proud. And we never really hung out, believe it or not. But I would hear that song. I would hear that song quite often.
Maybe he was trying to, as a conversation starter, you're supposed to knock on the door.
No,
and...
there was nothing of that sort going on. And then by the end, like
I bet you loved the shared bathrooms.
Dude, not only did I despise, I know you're kidding. I think I've talked about this. Like I would legit wait till like 2, 3 a.m. until I didn't hear anyone in the hallways just to go brush my teeth. That's how miserable I was. That's how much anxiety I had about interacting with these people who I did not like at all. So I would wait, I would listen, like I would look through the peephole, coast is clear, I would run to the bathroom, brush my teeth, and then run back or take a shower. It was awful. I'm getting like sweaty palms just thinking about it. It was awful. And then of course, like a month in, 9/11 happened. And like in the immediate aftermath, like you would hear helicopters. They were bringing people to the hospital in Syracuse because they ran out of space. I'll never forget waking up the day after 9/11, and I was interning at the radio station on campus and turning on CNN, and it was the first time I ever noticed the scroll. They introduced the scroll. And they were live from ground zero. And I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to be there by like 4:30 to do this 3-hour shift where I would just write news reports and they would never air. It was just like to do it internally, and some jabroni would like listen to it and tell me that I'm not pronouncing against correctly and all this crap. And I remember turning it on. Like I could smell the room. I could see the room. I had a tiny TV. And just thinking like the world was going to end. Like they were from ground zero and everything was still smoky. And I was like a month in, or less than a month in. I think I came like late August. And I was thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? What am I doing in Syracuse, New York? And should I just go home? That's how miserable I was off the jump. So anyway, not sure how we got down that path. But I hope you have a great time at school, Henry. And in the end,
you're gonna love it, Henry. I loved school.
It all
School's
worked
amazing.
out. It all worked out, and I have fond memories.
I went to a school in the city and commuted in and never had a dorm experience. It's the one thing I really do wish I had.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
Oh man, my random roommate in my freshman year, I ended up living with again later in college. Very very good friend to this day.
I would have liked it, I think.
Ryan, Ariel, here's a list of people Action Bronson name dropped on his new album, Johann Sebastian Baklava, the Doctor, Baklava. Francis Ngannou, Tyson Fury, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, the Honky Tonk Man, Jake the Snake, like Honky Tonk did to Jake Snake, Roddy Piper, Goldust, Shawn Michaels, and Hulk Hogan. Is Action Bronson the biggest combat sports fan in hip-hop history? Might be. There's a guy, and it's a great album, and I suggest everyone listens to it. It's really, really fun. There's a guy named Mike who put together a playlist of every single like interview that I've ever done as a guest. I'm seeing this here, and it's legit. And he entitled the playlist Broken Kayfabe. This is kind of wild. There's 74 interviews in this playlist. Thanks. I appreciate it. Okay, 2 more. Jordan, Ariel and the crew. I actually need some help from you guys. Imagine this. I'm from Birmingham, England. I grew up and continue to live not 10 minutes from where Leon Edwards calls home. Massive pay-per-view July 27th, as we all know. And instead of being in Manchester supporting Leon and Super Tommy Aspinall, I'll be in New York City. My question is, where would you guys recommend is a cool spot to watch UFC 304 in NYC? I'm pinning my hopes on GC to come through with a clutch suggestion for me here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I haven't watched a UFC card in New York City other than the watch parties in like 2 years. You could do Alamo Drafthouse, watch that in a movie theater.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I've always wanted to do that. I just obviously haven't been able to because of the watch parties. I think that would be really cool.
We should do the watch party from there.
Be sick. That'd be sick. Is that possible? Probably not. I mean, they serve food, they serve alcohol, big screen TV, comfortable setting. There's my recommendation, Alamo Drafthouse.
All right. Last one. Korean Zombie. Hello, everyone. Listening to you guys on Mondays and Wednesdays has become a part of my routine. So I wanted to know some of your routines as well. How often does everyone get a haircut, get a car wash, go for a jog, cry, anything else you do habitually? Thanks for the great shows.
I like how crying is habitual. Crying is a habit. The other ones, I'm like, yeah, you know, you go once a month. Cry, it's like, yeah, I cry every Tuesday.
I'm a big crier, but it's not.
You're not scheduling
You have to
it like
schedule
that.
it.
You have to schedule it. Car wash. I don't
Never
do
for
those
me.
that frequently.
Can I tell you something huge that I just did recently?
You wash your car for the first time.
No, I do the car wash time to time. I don't think my wife has ever taken any car to a car wash, so I have to. You know, we have 2 cars.
Yeah.
And I take hers too. But about a month ago, I saw someone in a neighbor's driveway, a detailer, and they came to the house. And so I looked at this van and took down the number, and then scheduled this guy to come to our house. And the whole thing took like 4 hours. But holy
Worth
crap!
it.
Holy crap!
It's like the best thing, right?
The car was.
Car's like brand new.
It wasn't like it was brand new. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
Amazing.
It was
Get a massage and a detailing the same
Bro,
day. You'll feel
I'm
like
telling you, I'm telling you that like you can't do it every month. It's stupid. It's a waste of money. It's expensive.
Every 6 months.
I'd be down, especially
You know, it's a good gift for somebody.
yo. It was now you can't use
That
your car
is a
for like
good
4 or
gift.
5 years, but it is nice. It was
Wait,
nice.
4 or 5.
What?
Sorry, hours. Sorry, long day.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. But
Oh,
it
that's
was.
all right.
it was-
live 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
nothing.
No, I did it on a Sunday. It was fantastic. It was wow. But the car wash, 2, 3, 4 months. I don't know. It depends. Also, winter is worse than summer.
You got kids. They should be washing the cars.
Yeah, we don't do that. Haircut once a week for me. Jog. I like to do like 3 times a week, maybe 4.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything that? Do you have a car, Frank?
No. I have had many cars,
Oh,
but they won't let me have them. Not since the incident.
oh my God.
My favorite routine, no lie, is wrangling up all the compost, recycling, paper goods, and trash on Tuesdays. Get my twine, scissors. I wrestle the boxes. Get them
Ariel,
all nice.
do you remember that there was a time where I was the hipster? Do you remember this? Do you remember how
have to do
far
that,
we've
me?
come where we
Yeah.
have Frank talking about record players and shit like this? Like, it's
I'll have
not
you
even in
know,
the same universe
The
anymore.
city requires that you divide those 4. I could see you
When
were
when I lived in
above the
Brooklyn,
law.
I did not do any of that. I don't even think
you
I
were in
recycled.
Jersey. No, this is legit. The compost is required. They're
I
not going to
didn't
start
live in
ticketing.
Compost is
Brooklyn. I didn't live in
required?
Brooklyn for
Compost
2
is
years.
required.
I didn't live in Brooklyn for 2 years.
Yeah, but
We used to have memories in Brooklyn, Frank. I mean, you used to come to
The
my
fondness.
humble.
Yeah.
But once you
abode.
went to
I guess you
Jersey,
just
is like
forgot
all I got
about me.
erased. I was like, I don't know you anymore.
Yeah. I guess,
Anyway, no, the
I guess
compost is
so.
required. They are not ticketing until next year, but we already have the bin. We do that. Then the paper can't be mixed in with the plastic, and you're supposed to twine together all of your cardboard. And then the trash is the trash, which is the easiest one.
And you enjoy this. You enjoy the process of
Yes.
setting up your garbage and.
Can I tell you what I don't enjoy? Since you were asking, people come onto the patio and go through my recycling to pick out cans and stuff, and they can't wait till Tuesday
Five cents a
night to
pop,
do that
man.
when I put it
5 cents a
outside.
pop.
And sometimes I've come out while they're there, and they just hello, and they walk out the gate. I'm like, are
That's
we
the
just
Don't
most-
disrespect the hustle, man.
are we not going to acknowledge that you were just rummaging through that stuff?
That's the most New York City thing ever.
Yeah,
helping
don't
them out.
disrespect the hustle.
All right, well, I'll
5
just
cents
send
a
them the
pop.
invoice for the rent.
The 5 cents.
My wife has gotten really into the compost thing, and it's bizarre to me because I don't think she's doing it the right way, and I think raccoons and stuff are.
What do you mean?
No. I see on our thing, the ring, I see a family of raccoons, and I'm like, it's because you're just throwing,
No.
you're
That
like,
probably means she's doing it right.
Is she
No.
gardening as well?
you're
or
doing the weird thing where you're just throwing, freaking
compostable
banana
items?
peels
Yeah,
out into
and
the
eggshells.
backyard. It doesn't work that way.
Wait, she's just throwing them in a
throws it
pile?
all straight into the backyard.
Yeah, she's just okay, here's the spot for the compost. And
Oh, that's not.
She's not-
Shut up. No,
That's-
She's
That's
not
not
mixing it with
compost.
soil or
No,
anything.
there's no way
she's
she's
just
doing
throwing.
Bro,
When you said I think she's not doing it right,
Stop.
I can confirm she is
Yeah.
not doing it correctly.
I
No,
have
that's not even close.
Luckily, she doesn't listen to the show, but she would be very upset.
You need a bin. You need an actual compost.
And you have to stir that shit up.
And you have to.
How big talking about? We're putting a pile of edible food out in the backyard, wondering why raccoons are coming.
Just open the door.
Think of like it's like a barrel size. It's you have a
Telling
barrel,
if
and
you guys can relay this message. It would be
call her
fantastic.
right now. This is
no,
absurd.
this is gonna.
This is you. This is a you thing, man.
Oh, there goes Jacqueline just throwing banana peels in the backyard again.
Like, how does it not smell?
What happens when Macho gets
horrible?
up?
Bro,
Does
I'm telling you, I'm starting to get weird looks from the
Do the
freaking
raccoons have
neighbors.
flies in their mouth?
It's that high. The neighbors can see it.
It's weird, man. It's freaking weird.
HOA is probably like
I
writing
saw-
a letter to you right now.
I swear to God, I saw a bunch of freaking. I saw like legit 5 raccoons in the middle of the night,
Of
just
course,
like
They like
you're
to
putting a
travel
full
in
course
packs,
buffet
Ariel.
out there for them, and you're wondering why they're coming.
Let me just confirm real quick because now it's bothering me.
Can we
At
get
the
a
house
picture of the
right
pile?
now.
Do you just throw
Can we
it
get a
out
picture of the pile,
I
please?
feel like
No,
this is the
it's-
biggest misrepresentation.
No, it's really bad.
How big? How big? 4
Uh,
feet?
No,
6
what
feet
4
tall.
feet? Oh, the bucket or the actual pile of
So
stuff?
there is a bucket.
Oh, so there is
The
a
pile of
container.
stuff.
The truth
No,
comes
there is
out.
no bucket.
Okay.
Oh.
So why did you suggest a bucket?
I don't
if there is
know.
no
You think it's a 4-foot pile of stuff? I don't know.
Yeah,
that might
that's
be a
what
little
you're-
high.
Is there a bin in the kitchen where it?
No, you
stage
know. You know
one?
why it's not 4 feet? Because the fucking raccoons are coming and eating the shit.
Well, then it's serving its purpose. It's being
It's
reused.
disgusting.
Oh, this is great.
Thank God she didn't pick up.
No, we need to follow
This
up
is
on this.
great.
It's weird, man.
Listen, Frank is apparently like
I am
compost king,
triggered
so
right
all you
now.
need is him to just give her a lesson.
Don't you? Doesn't the compost have to be in like a big, massive bucket that no
No.
one could reach?
You're supposed to use
You
it
do.
as soil. The city is saying, "Give us your compost. We'll take it and put it in the park." So that remains to be seen if they're actually going to do that part. It's all composting. Way to go. On your way to the record store to buy records. When you get home, you type out what you're doing on your typewriter, and then throw the stuff in the compost bin.
We get it,
Frank
Frank.
is.
Typewriter. What the fuck are you talking about?
Listen, that's Grandpappy.
This is
right
that
there.
listening thing
That's
I was talking
Grandpappy.
about.
This is
You better
wild,
you better
man.
listen to Grandpappy when he tells you something.
Thank you to everyone for the questions. Appreciate you guys very much.